It's a beautiful day to be alive. I believe you're not here by accident. You didn't just stumble into this moment. You were led here, drawn by purpose, carried by grace, and fueled by something greater than what's against you. You may be facing challenges right now. People walking away. Doors shutting. Prayers that still haven't been answered. But I came to remind you, the battle is not yours. It belongs to the Lord. And if you'll just stay the course, you will outlast the opposition. Yes, there are giants in the land, but they're not bigger than your God. Yes, the mountain looks higher than your faith. The opposition wants you to believe it's permanent. But let me tell you something. It's temporary. The sickness, the struggle, the betrayal, the anxiety. It didn't come to stay, it came to pass. The opposition may be loud, but your persistence is louder. They may count you out, but God's already counted you. You don't have to fight every battle. Some battles are won by standing still and refusing to back down. Sometimes the greatest victory is in your refusal to quit. Maybe people have been against you. Maybe the odds are stacked high. But God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't give you that vision, that dream, that fire in your heart, just to let it be destroyed. No, you're still standing for a reason. You're still breathing for a reason. You're still believing for a reason. That reason. 'Cause you're destined to win. Listen, to defeat the opposition, your job is to outlast it. Critics will get tired. The haters will run out of strength. But if you'll stay rooted, stay faithful, you'll look back one day and say, what tried to stop me only strengthened me. So keep showing up. Keep praising in the pain. Keep walking by faith and not by sight. Don't let the weariness talk you into giving up. Your breakthrough is closer than it's ever been. Because the promise is not for the fastest, not for the strongest, but for the one who refuses to quit. You're not just going to survive it. You're not just going to get through it. You're gonna outlast it. When you start facing unusual resistance in life, it's easy to assume something is wrong. You might think, oh, why am I going through this? Why are people turning on me? Why are things so difficult? But what if I told you that the presence of opposition doesn't mean you're off track? It often means you're on the right one. The battles you're facing, the critics that rise up, the delays, the disappointment, they can actually be confirmation that you are headed towards something significant. You don't attract resistance when you're doing nothing. You attract resistance when you're about to do something that matters. You see, the enemy doesn't bother people who are going nowhere. If there's no purpose, there's no pressure. But the moment you step into purpose, into calling, into destiny, that's when opposition shows up. That's when doors start closing. That's when the whispers get louder. Not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. Not because you're failing, but because you're rising. There's something about your future that threatens the forces working against you. And instead of backing down, you've got to learn how to recognize that as a sign. A sign that you're getting closer. A sign that the promise is near. A sign that what God put in your heart is starting to shake things in the atmosphere. Look at anyone who ever did anything significant, whether in scripture, in history, or in your own life, and you'll see the pattern. Before the promotion, there was pressure. Before the miracle, there was opposition. David had to face Goliath before he became king. Joseph had to go through the pit and the prison before he got to the palace. Jesus was rejected, misunderstood, mocked by the very people he came to save. If opposition was part of their journey, why would we think it wouldn't be part of ours? Sometimes the pressure you're feeling is not a sign of failure. It's the weight of favor. It's the evidence that you're carrying something valuable. And the greater the purpose, the greater the pushback. That's why you can't afford to get discouraged every time someone misunderstands you. You can't give up just because the door didn't open on the first knock. You've got to dig in your heels and say, if I'm facing this much resistance, then there must be something powerful on the other side of it. I must be closer than I think. I must be standing right in front of something the enemy doesn't want me to access. Some people will criticize you simply because they can't control you. Others will try to shut you down because your boldness reminds them of what they were too afraid to become. Well, but you weren't created to live limited by the approval of others. You weren't called to please everybody. You were chosen to please God. And pleasing God will sometimes offend people who are committed to staying the same. That's okay. Let them talk. Let them doubt you. Let them walk away. That doesn't change who you are. And it certainly doesn't cancel what God has already declared over your life. Every opposition is an opportunity to grow, to stretch, to strengthen your faith. Resistance is what builds resilience. Without it, you wouldn't learn how to pray deeper. Without it, you wouldn't know how to lean on God when everything else falls apart. Without it, you wouldn't develop the character that can sustain the calling. The opposition may be uncomfortable, but it is not without purpose. Even what the enemy meant for harm, God knows how to turn it for good. He's using it to toughen you up, to build spiritual endurance, to make sure you're not just prepared to enter the blessing, but you're ready to hold on to it when it comes. Sometimes we ask God to take away the storm, but He's trying to teach us how to stand in the middle of it. He's saying, you don't need me to remove the wind. I've already given you the strength to walk through it. Because what you're going through is not the end of your story. It's a chapter in your preparation. And if you don't quit in the face of opposition, you'll see the reward of persistence. You may not see it now, but the opposition has been strategically allowed not to destroy you, but to direct you, to position you right where you need to be, to remind you that what's ahead is worth fighting for. You might be weary, but you're still here. You might be tired, but you're still moving. And that's the power of someone who knows deep down, this resistance here because I'm weak. It's here because I'm about to break through. So don't be discouraged by the adversity. Don't let it convince you that you've made a mistake. Learn to see it differently. Learn to smile in the middle of the storm and say, this must mean I'm getting close. Because the attacks confirm the assignment. The weight confirms the calling. The struggle confirms the elevation. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The opposition is not a curse, it's a clue. The clue that greatness is around the corner, that breakthrough is within reach, that God is up to something far beyond what you can see. Hold your peace, keep your joy, stay faithful. Because when the opposition shows up, it's not the time to panic, it's time to prepare. Something is shifting in your favor, and the enemy wouldn't be fighting this hard unless he knew you're about to step into something. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because the door hasn't opened doesn't mean it's locked forever. Just because you haven't seen the breakthrough, the healing, the turnaround, it doesn't mean God changed his mind. Sometimes what feels like silence is not a rejection, it's preparation. The time may not be now, but it is still coming. The door may be shut today, but it's still in your future. The healing may not be visible, but it's still taking shape. Keep walking, keep believing, keep expecting. Because God doesn't forget promises. He finishes what He starts. And the delay you're experiencing now may be the exact thing that ensures you'll be ready when the time comes. So rest in this truth. You are not being denied. You are being developed. What feels like a pause is part of a bigger plan. And when it finally arrives, it will be more than you imagine. greater than you hoped for, and perfectly aligned with the destiny that's always been yours. There's something powerful about choosing to remain steady when everything around you is shaking. Something sacred about holding on when you feel like letting go. Life will put you through tests. Some are mild, others feel like fire. Intense, uncomfortable, confusing. You might be going through a season right now where you're asking, why is this happening to me? The pressure is rising. The heat is turned up. You're doing your best to do what's right, but it seems like the more you try, the more opposition comes your way. And it can be tempting to think that maybe God forgot about you, that maybe you're being punished or left behind. But what if this season isn't here to destroy you, but to reveal something inside you? Fire has a way of showing what's real and what's not. It exposes what's been buried deep. It burns off what you don't need. And yes, it's uncomfortable, it's hard, but it's also holy. Because some things can only be shaped some strength can only be formed in the furnace. Some breakthroughs are born in the places we least want to be. It's easy to worship when everything is going your way. It's easy to smile when the blessings are flowing and the doors are opening. But real growth happens when you can praise with tears in your eyes. When you can keep showing up, keep praying, keep believing, even when you don't feel a thing. That kind of endurance, that kind of devotion, that's what makes you unshakable. That's what gets heaven's attention. Not perfection, but persistence. There are moments in life when it will feel like the fire is too much. Like the pain is unbearable, the pressure is nonstop, and the answers are nowhere to be found. You look around and wonder, well, where is God in all of this? But you need to know He's not absent from the fire. He's in it with you, just like He was in the furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The fire didn't destroy them. It freed them. It burned the ropes, not their skin. The thing that was supposed to end them actually elevated them. That's what happens when you stay grounded through adversity. The very thing the enemy meant for harm becomes the doorway to promotion, and people will look at you and wonder how you made it through. You should have lost your mind. You should have given up. You should have walked away. But you didn't. There's something inside you said, even here, even now, I'm not letting go. I don't understand this season, but I trust the one who holds it. Sometimes, the fire is not there to change your circumstances, there to change you, to burn away fear, to expose doubt, to refine your faith, to strip off everything that's not aligned with your calling, because you're not being buried. This isn't your finish, it's your formation. You're being developed in private so you can be displayed in public. God is doing something in you that's going to prepare you for something greater than what you thought you were waiting for. The truth is, some of your greatest anointings will come from your most painful seasons. Some of your most impactful words will come from the deepest wounds. People see your strength and think it came easy, but you know it was born in the fire. That's why you can look back and say, I didn't just survive, I was strengthened. You didn't just make it through, you were molded into something stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you ever imagined. So what do you do when the fire rages on and the breakthrough hasn't come? You keep going. You lift your hands anyway. You speak life over yourself. You remind your soul that the fire is temporary, but your purpose is eternal. You tell yourself that quitting is not an option because God's not done with your story writing. Then you're still rising. You may feel like nobody sees your struggle, like your faithfulness is being wasted. But nothing is wasted with God. Every tear, every silent prayer, every private fight, He sees it all. And the reward for not giving up isn't just what you get, it's who you become. You become the kind of person who doesn't bend under pressure. The kind of person who walks through storms with unshaken faith. The kind of person who doesn't need applause to stay faithful, because you know who you're doing it for. This is not the end. This is not where you give up. This is where your strength is forged. This is where your endurance becomes evidence. You're not being tested because you're weak. You're being tested because you're strong. And when you come out of this, you're not going to look like what you went through. People won't see the fire. They'll see the favor. They won't see the pain. They'll see the purpose. And you'll know deep down that every second in the heat was worth it. Stay grounded. Keep walking. Because the fire you're in today is preparing you for the future you've been praying for. And when the smoke clears, you're gonna step out, not burned, but blessed, stronger, freer, and more focused than ever before. Sometimes the weight of life feels unbearable. The pressure of responsibilities, the demands of your family, the expectations at work, the internal struggles no one sees. It can feel like it's all too much. And it's in these seasons that we start to ask, why is this happening to me? Why do I feel like I'm being crushed from every side? But if the pressure you feel isn't a sign that something is wrong, but that something is being formed, you're not under attack because you're weak. You're under pressure because something greater is being developed inside of you. Diamonds are made under pressure. Oil is pressed out of olives. Grapes are crushed before they become wine. You don't get the treasure without the tension. You don't walk in power without walking through pressure. God never wastes the weight of what you're going through. Every ounce of it is working towards something deeper than you can see right now. You may be in a season where things are tighter than usual. The doors aren't opening like they used to. The answers are slower than you hoped. You're doing your best, but the progress feels minimal. That pressure you feel, it's doing something in you. It's pushing out the pride. It's pulling out the potential. It's forcing you to dig deeper into the strength you didn't know you had. It's not the absence of favor, it's the shaping of it. God often applies pressure before He brings promotion, not to punish you, but to purify you, to prepare you, to stretch you for the weight of what's coming next. You're asking Him to enlarge your territory, but first He has to enlarge your capacity. You want the platform, but He's more concerned about your foundation. He won't build something on you that you're not strong enough to carry. So He applies pressure not to break you, but to strengthen you. If everything was easy, we wouldn't grow. If there was no challenge, we wouldn't change. It's the tight places that make you flexible, the uncomfortable places that make you strong. That's where you discover a new level of prayer, a new level of dependence, a new level of clarity. Because pressure has a way of stripping away distraction. It shows you what really matters. It exposes what was fake, what was flaky, and what was faithful. Don't misinterpret the discomfort as distance from God. He's not far. He's right in the middle of it with you. You may not feel Him. You may not see how it all works together yet, but He's working. He's developing endurance. He's unlocking deeper trust. He's revealing gifts you didn't know you had. And the power that's being formed in you now will be the same power that carries you through doors you never thought you'd walk through. Look at the strongest people you admire. Not one of them got that strength from comfort. They didn't become bold through ease. They were shaped by storms. They were refined in the fire. They walked through pressure, and it pushed them into purpose. They learned how to keep praising when the promise seemed far away. They learned how to stand when everything in them wanted to run. And now, they're walking in power that came from seasons of pressure. There are times when you'll want to give up, when it seems like the weight is too much to bear. But that's not the time to quit. That's the time to remind yourself, this isn't breaking me, it's building me. I'm being equipped for more. I'm being made ready for greater. Because when you come out of this, you won't be the same. You'll be wiser. You'll be stronger. You'll be more focused. You'll have a faith that can't be shaken because it was forged in the struggle. Pressure is proof that there's something powerful inside of you. You wouldn't be facing what you're facing if there wasn't something valuable in your future. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. The attack isn't random, it's targeted, because the purpose on your life is too big to remain unchallenged. But here's the good news. The same God who allowed the pressure is the same God who will use it for your good. He won't let it go to waste. He won't let it destroy you. He'll use it to bring out something greater than you imagined. So lift your head. Take a deep breath. Remind your soul that the pressure is not the end. It's part of the process. Don't run from it. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. Let it deepen your faith. What you feel right now is not defeat. It's development. It's transformation. And when you come out of this, you won't come out empty. You'll come out empowered. Keep going. Keep trusting. Don't give in to the fear, the doubt, or the discouragement. There's something being born in you, and it's going to change the lives of people around you. What's pressing you today is preparing you for what God is about to release. And when that moment comes, you'll understand why the pressure had to come first. Because what's inside of you was always meant to rise. But first, it had to be refined. There comes a moment in life when you stop negotiating with fear. When you stop second-guessing the call on your life. When you stop entertaining doubt, insecurity, and every lie that tells you to turn back. That moment, when your heart settles, your spirit locks in, and your decision is made, is more powerful than any opposition that comes against you. It's not always the loudest person who wins. It's the most committed. It's the one who has made up their mind that come what may, they're not backing down. When your will is anchored in truth, when your heart is aligned with purpose, when you've decided that giving up is no longer an option, you become a threat that can't be shaken. The enemy might try to distract you, delay you, discourage you, but he can't destroy you when you've already decided to keep moving forward. Because real power isn't found in emotion. It's found in decision. And once you've made that internal shift, everything begins to change. The truth is, you'll never reach your destiny without resistance. There will always be voices trying to pull you away from it. Some will come from outside. Critics, doubters, unexpected setbacks. Others will rise from within old insecurities, shame from the past, fear of failure. But none of those things can stop a person who has chosen to keep walking no matter what. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. Not the ones who had the easiest path, but the ones who said, I've come too far to turn around. You don't need the approval of everyone around you to move forward. You don't need the perfect conditions, the ideal timing, or a guarantee of success. You just need the fire inside you to burn brighter than the pressure around you. Once your will is fixed, your direction is clear, and your heart is steady, you've already won half the battle. Because you've stepped into alignment with what God placed inside you, and no amount of resistance can override divine resolve. This isn't about hype or temporary motivation. This is about drawing a line in the sand and saying, no matter what happens next, I'm not quitting. When you reach that place, you'll find a peace that isn't shaken by circumstances. Confidence that doesn't rise and fall with people's opinions. A focus that can't be interrupted by noise. You'll still face challenges, but they won't control you anymore. You'll still hear doubt, but it won't drown you. Because your heart is locked in on something bigger than the moment you're standing in. Even in Scripture, we see it over and over again. Men and women who didn't have easy lives, but had unwavering determination. Ruth chose to stay even when it didn't make sense. Daniel kept praying, even when it put his life at risk. Esther stood before the king knowing she could die. Jesus went to the cross, not because he felt strong, but because his mind was fixed. The power wasn't in avoiding difficulty. It was in standing firm in the middle of it. That's what changes everything. You can't control how long the storm lasts. You can decide how long you'll stand. You can't control who walks away, but you can choose not to walk away from yourself. You can't control every attack, every delay, every hardship, but you can decide that none of it will move you, that you'll keep trusting, keep praising, keep believing, that even if it's slow, even if it costs you everything, you will not let go of what God spoke over your life. Some of you are one decision away from a different level of strength, one decision away from peace that can't be shaken. You've been back and forth, in and out, hot and cold, but the moment you decide, heaven backs you up. The moment you choose to stay the course, no matter what, you'll feel the help of the Holy Spirit like never before, because God doesn't wait for perfection. He responds to commitment. He steps in where there's faith that won't flinch under fire. Make up your mind that you are not going to let what happened to you define the rest of your life. Make up your mind that you're not going to live stuck in the opinions of people who don't know your calling. Make up your mind that if you've got to cry, crawl, or pray your way through it, you will not stop. And you'll see that the attacks will eventually fade. The voices will grow quiet. The obstacles will move, because what you refuse to surrender, the enemy can't steal. This journey won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. And when you've decided deep down that you're going to finish what God started in you, no storm can last long enough to stop you. The adversity may have endurance, but so do you. And yours is not powered by fear, it's fueled by purpose. That's what keeps you going when the feelings fade. That's what keeps you steady when nothing makes sense. So today, settle it in your spirit. You're not turning back, you're not giving in. You've drawn the line. The enemy might throw everything he has at you, but he can't win, because your will is already decided and your heart is already fixed. And once that happens, no force in hell can undo what God has set in motion. Sometimes life feels like a long, uphill journey. There are days when your legs feel heavy, your heart feels tired, and everything in you wants to stop. You've prayed, you've believed, you've given your best, but it feels like nothing is changing. It's in those moments that quitting can seem like the easier option. But it's also in those moments that something deep inside you has to rise up and say, no, I didn't come this far just to walk away now. There's a strength that's not found in talent. It's not found in resources or popularity or perfect timing. It's found in grit, in perseverance, in that quiet refusal to give up. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need all the answers. You just need to keep showing up. To keep waking up with the decision that you're going to move forward anyway. Even if it's slow. Even if it's messy. Even if you're hurting. Because the only way to lose is to stop moving. Too many people forfeit their breakthrough because they gave up one day too soon. They walked away because it felt impossible. They laid down the dream because the process got too long. But what they didn't realize is that heaven had already scheduled the shift. The change was already in motion. The answer was already on the way. But the reward goes to the one who stays in the fight. Even when the outcome is still, every champion in history had reasons to quit. Every person who accomplished something great went through seasons of silence, struggle, and setbacks. The difference wasn't in the struggle. It was in the decision to keep going. Not because it was easy, but because they had something inside of them that refused to back down. And the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead, that same power, is inside of you. That means you're stronger than you think, more capable than you realize, more resilient than what your circumstances are telling you. God never promised the path would be easy, but He did promise He would be with you every step of the way. Sometimes His power is revealed in the open doors. Other times it's revealed in the strength to keep knocking. It takes faith to keep praying when it feels like nothing is moving. It takes courage to keep serving, keep believing, keep walking with integrity when no one's clapping, when no one sees the cost. But those moments of unseen faithfulness are building something in you. Every step you take is stacking up in the Spirit. Every time you say, I won't quit, you're getting closer. Even if you can't feel it yet. You might be in a hard season right now. Maybe everything in you wants to throw in the towel. Maybe you're tired of starting over, tired of hoping, tired of trusting. But I want you to know, it's not over. You're still in the story. If you've got breath in your lungs, you've got a reason to believe. God is not finished with you. And you have no idea how close you might be. Sometimes the greatest resistance comes right before the greatest release. Don't let temporary discouragement lead to permanent decisions. Don't let a rough chapter make you close the book. God's not done writing. He's still arranging people, still orchestrating moments, still working behind the scenes. And if you'll just refuse to quit, you'll walk into things that were worth every sleepless night, every tear, every delay, every lonely valley. You'll realize that the pain didn't stop the promise. It prepared you to carry it. Think about the farmer who plants a seed. He doesn't dig it up after a week just because he doesn't see anything growing. He waits. He trusts the process. He knows the harvest takes time. And so it is with your life. Just because you don't see the fruit right now doesn't mean the roots aren't growing deep. Just because no one else sees the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. The breakthrough isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet obedience that opens the biggest doors. There's power in consistency, in staying when it would be easier to leave, in believing when there's no visible reason to believe. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith changes generations. And that kind of faith brings victory. Not to the strongest, not to the fastest, but to the one who refuses to stop. So shake off the shame. Silence the doubt. Drown out the fear. You may be bruised, but you're not broken. You may be tired, but you're not done. What God started, He will finish. But you've got to keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep pushing forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Because the promise is still alive. The vision is still valid. And what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind. You're not weak for feeling weary. You're human. But your faith, your persistence, your decision to rise again, that's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of commitment. And that's all it takes. One more day, one more step. Keep going. You're closer than you think. And I don't know what kind of opposition you're facing today. Maybe it's external. People trying to hold you back. Circumstances out of your control. Doors that won't open. Or maybe it's internal. Self-doubt, fear, disappointment. Whatever it is, let this be your reminder. The presence of the struggle doesn't mean the absence of victory. The weight you're carrying isn't a sign that you're weak. It's evidence that. And as long as you don't quit, you will win. The resistance is not a mistake. It's a clue. A clue that you're carrying something valuable. That you're headed somewhere significant. That the hand of God is on your life. And the enemy knows it. He's not attacking your present. He's terrified of your future. But what he doesn't know is that you've already made up your mind. That no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, you've decided you're not backing down. You're learning to see the delay differently. You're realizing that just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. You're being shaped in the shadows for something that's going to shine in the light. He's developing the strength in you to carry the weight of the blessing coming your way. And even though it feels like the fire is intense right now, you're not being destroyed. You're being refined. You're being purified. You're being forged into something unshakable. Because there's a power being built in you through pressure no enemy can stop and no setback can delay. Yes, the attacks may come, the resistance may rise, the path may grow difficult. But the enemy cannot defeat a person who refuses to quit. He can't stop a heart that's locked into God's promise. He can't silence a voice that keeps speaking truth. He cannot outlast someone who's made up their mind to stand. You've come too far to turn around now. You've survived too much to question your strength. You've endured the storm, walked through the valley, prayed through the silence, still standing, still moving forward. And that alone is proof that something greater is ahead. So hold your ground, dig deep, stand firm. Stay faithful, because the victory doesn't go to the one with the easiest path. It goes to the one who refuses to give up, the one who praises in the dark, the one who keeps walking in the rain, the one who trusts God, not just for the promise, but through the process. You are not defeated. You are not defeated. You are not forgotten. You are not too late, too broken, or too behind. You are exactly where you need to be for God to do something extraordinary in your life. And I believe you will outlast the opposition. Not just survive it, not just endure it, but rise above it, walk through it. And come out on the other side stronger, wiser, freer, and more powerful. This is your time. This is your season. So get ready, because what's been pressing you is about to become the very thing that propels you. In Jesus' name, you will outlast it all.